What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Happy Friday. I'm Hayley Lewis, and this is Chiefs News Daily. We got an exciting episode today. We got Chiefs senior reporter Matt McMullen joining us on the show. So make sure you give us a like and subscribe here on the KCSN YouTube channel, and let's get into this interview. Guys, we got a special guest for you today. You already know him. You see him on the sidelines. You see him pretty much all over social media breaking a lot of the Chiefs news. We have the Chiefs senior reporter. We got Matt McMullen in the house. Matt, appreciate you being here today.
Of course, Hayley. How's it going?
Good. We're having a good time. It's honestly, I was thinking back to last week and thinking back to the negotiating period, then getting into the new league year and kind of how we had a few quiet days. But then over this past weekend, it's like Brett Veach is just wheeling and dealing. I know that they have a lot to do in the front office. I know it is very busy over there. So just give me, off the top, it's not done yet. There's a lot to come. The draft is still in the future. But what are your initial thoughts on what has happened so far in free agency? What's got you excited?
That's always the funny part of recording things like this because we'll talk all about it and then like a move will happen before you post it. Yep. I'm used to that. But, I think the best thing about this offseason is I think Brett has put the team in a great position to attack the draft by truly taking the best players available. And that's always the worst situation to be in when you are entering a draft and you have like some glaring holes that you have to fill and you wonder, are they going to reach at a certain spot when maybe there's a better player available, but they feel like they have to fill a certain position. You don't want to be in that situation in the draft. And the Chiefs have been so good over the years about really, truly sticking to their board, taking the best player available. And I think with what they've done in free agency this offseason, they're in a great position to do that. You go out and sign Christian Fulton, a corner. You don't have to take a corner in the first round, right? You feel pretty good about that position. If there's a guy there that you like, you can take him, but you don't have to. Same thing with offensive tackle, signing Jalen Moore. You don't have to take an offensive tackle in the first round because you think Jalen Moore can come in and compete. If there's a really good one that falls to you, maybe you can do it, but you don't have to do it. So that's my favorite thing about this offseason so far is I just think the Chiefs are in a great position to take the best players available.
How much of this is a delicate dance? Now, I know you get a little more of an inside view to this, but it's not like you're in the war room, right? There are things going on.
I wish.
Yeah, right. Seriously, I think everyone wishes that they could see behind the veil, and actually see what they do. But how much of it is a delicate dance of figuring out things with just the cards that you're dealt, right? The certain draft picks that you fall with, the compensatory picks that you get. Also, the fact that you have to work through, I think the Chiefs had almost a lengthy list of like 20 UDFAs when they were going into this initially. And then the Chiefs always seem to do such a good job of that. Is that simply because of, obviously we give credit to Brett Veach, but because of how well they work together? Brett Veach, Andy Reid, just everyone within that staff.
Oh, yeah. The thing about the NFL is runs like what the Chiefs are on are not supposed to happen. It's all about parity. The whole idea is every single team and city has a chance every single year. You're not supposed to win 9 straight AFC West titles. It's designed with the salary cap and where the Chiefs are picking at the back end of every single round, every single year, where naturally the idea is other teams will overtake the Chiefs. And it's incredible what Veach and Coach Reid and everyone in this front office has been able to do to sustain this success. Sustaining success is the hardest thing to do in sports, especially in the NFL. And I still don't think they get enough credit for every single year competing. Think about when Coach Reid got here in 2013. Every single season since 2013, the Chiefs have had a winning record. Every year, you're always in it. And all but one of those years, they've made the playoffs. So yeah, I can't say enough about this front office for just finding a way to churn this roster every single season to find the 2 or 3 players that maybe people aren't talking about. They add them to this roster and it helps this team get over the top. I look at the 2022 draft class. Just a transformative draft class. I think one of the best in NFL history where you find contributors in every single round. That's the hope again this year, as you keep finding guys like this that maybe not everyone's talking about, but in the end, they help this team win a Super Bowl.
You mentioned it. So many things that have happened since Andy Reid came here. Also 9 straight AFC West division titles. Throw that in. I know it's unfathomable sometimes when you think through what happened. People see, the Super Bowl loss, the disappointment of that. But sometimes in retrospect, we forget they went to 3 straight Super Bowls, the first ever back-to-back champ to be able to do that. So incredible history being made. I think, in my opinion, and I'll ask you, I think that this is a very telling offseason. This is really going to be where the Chiefs are kind of put on that big stage and they have to prove that this wasn't just like, dare I say fluke? It's not the right word, but that this is going to be that dynastic run, right? That they don't even want us to use that word, right? But this is going to be something that consistently stays. How important do you think that is in terms of just perception amongst the league? Like, this is the time for Patrick Mahomes. We already saw him. He's out there on the revenge tour already. You see the players working out.
Yeah, I'd say it's a great opportunity, and we've seen this over the years. The amazing thing is the Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl was their first playoff loss in, I think, more than 1,000 days since the loss to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. But look back over the years at the few playoff losses that Patrick Mahomes and Brett Veach have had. After every single one, there is a period of transformation. There's kind of a look in the mirror kind of moment, and it's how can we find a way to get better to where we can overcome what stopped us this year? And I expect that once again, because that's just what we've seen over the years, where in 2018, it was we have to overhaul the defense after losing in the AFC Championship game. They do that. They win the Super Bowl in 2019. In 2020, it was the offensive line, going to find a way to rebuild this offensive line. They did that in the 2021 offseason. And really, I think after 2021, it was about kind of remaking the team in general, remaking the offense, finding different ways to win. You trade Tyreek Hill away. Everyone was freaking out for a bit, but that one worked out okay. So yeah, I expect similar things this offseason, where it's a bit of a transformation process. Hopefully the draft kind of leads to that transformation, but history shows us that it's usually always a good thing.
And there is no off season. As I said, we were in the off season, but we're really not. We hit the ground running, NFL Combine, right after that into free agency. Now the Chiefs are getting, obviously there's an annual league meeting that's coming up at the end of this month, then into the draft, then into what? OTAs. And then there's rookie minicamp, mandatory minicamp. And then I feel like we're already back at St. Joe for the July training camp. So when you look at the new acquisitions that they brought in, and I'm talking between the three of Christian Fulton, also Jalen Moore, as well as Elijah Mitchell. They have already been in the building signing. I know a couple of others have as well since then. But I know you wrote some articles like 5 things you need to know or anything like that. What stands out to you about those guys, whether it be personality on or off the field?
Well, Christian Fulton is one that I'm really excited about. Just because he's an outside corner by trade, like 86% of his career snaps are as an outside corner. And I think that'll give Steve Spagnuolo a lot of flexibility within his defensive scheme. Not sure exactly what that means, but maybe you can move Trent McDuffie around, put him in the slot more. Maybe you can move Shamari Connor around as more of a traditional safety. I just think adding a player like that, who is a consistent and reliable outside corner, to a defense that's already been so good over the last several years, I think it has a chance to make it even better and less predictable. So I'm excited about that for a lot of reasons. And Jalen Moore, too, one thing that Mitch and I talk about is it's so hard to find like a blue chip left tackle if you're a really good team like the Chiefs, because you're not picking in the top 10, and rarely do those guys hit free agency, and you're not going to have the money to give them a giant contract, right? So how do you find that player? Well, maybe a guy who was the understudy for Trent Williams, who's one of the best left tackles of all time and played really well when he had an opportunity. Maybe that guy can be someone you give an opportunity and see what he can do. So I'm fired up about that. These are young players still, and you bring them into this building and this culture, and you just see what they can do. So those two are a couple that I'm very excited about.
I do want to ask you about Gardner Minshew. That guy had quite the personality, quite the online presence. Now, I read one of your articles where you were talking about he has, quite the personality, but he went around in an RV all throughout the country, and then he lived in a bus outside of a training facility.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this guy, because there's so much out there. It's almost like the hair holds mysteries. You just don't know what you're going to get.
This might be the most exciting preseason in Chiefs history. Yeah. I'm very excited, and I'll be on the sideline, hopefully interviewing Gardner. He's a character, but I really admire his drive and passion for football.
Yeah.
If you research his history, it was not always a guarantee he was going to be even a college quarterback. I mean, he was at a community college for a while. He went to East Carolina, I believe, and had a decent career. But if he hadn't gone to Washington State with Mike Leach, who knows what happens? Ends up breaking numerous Pac-12 records and goes to the NFL. And was really good for the Jags with his opportunities. His first ever game was against the Chiefs. I think we all remember watching that one. Who was this guy? Yeah, it was the 2019 season opener in Jacksonville. Nick Foles got hurt early in the game, and Gardner came in and completed his first 15 passes. I mean, he was incredible. And I mean, had a good career there. Have you seen one of my favorite things is the hug he shared with his dad when he was on the Eagles after they beat somebody. Jalen Hurts got hurt. He came in and played, and he beat somebody, and him and his dad had the most like awesome, like wholesome, genuine hug ever. I don't know. He just seems like a really genuine guy.
We're getting good vibes.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Chiefs fans are going to like him a lot. Hopefully he doesn't play a whole lot in the regular season. But, you know, if he has to, I know we have a guy that has been there and done that.
I know, right? That's the juxtaposition. You're like super excited for this guy to be here, but we never want to see you on a field come Sunday during the regular season. Another guy, Kansas City is bringing in Tillery, who is going to be a defensive tackle. That I think is a great addition. Also retaining Tuipulotu. Did I nail it?
I think you did.
Wow.
Yeah,
I have practiced. I have practiced. The defensive line will kind of end on this. Everyone kind of in these draft conversations, or maybe just in fan conversations, it seems like the defensive line a little bit gets left out of the flashiness of free agency and draft talk, because sometimes you just think, oh, we got Chris Jones, everything's peachy down there. Well, it is to a degree, but also Chris Jones is getting older and you have to plan for the future, right? So what do these additions or retaining and then addition mean to you? And then also the Chiefs attacking the defensive line in the draft. Is that something that you see happening?
Well, in my opinion, if there's one area this draft is absolutely loaded, it's that defensive tackle.
Yes.
So there's a lot of good players at defensive tackle in this draft. I actually have a few of them right here. I can list off a few that I like. I mean, Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. I mean, awesome player that I've been watching quite a bit. Derek Harmon from Oregon is a player that can make a lot of sense. These are like 3-down defensive linemen who can play against the run and the pass. Alfred Collins is a fun player from Texas. He has just like ridiculous video game prototypical size for the position, but a great motor. Like you'll see this guy is 330 pounds going down and chasing down screens. So there's a lot of depth and talent at defensive tackle in this draft that the Chiefs will have an opportunity to add to the defensive line if they want to. But adding Tillery, to get back to what I was talking about earlier, it at least brings in a player who's a former first rounder. He's a veteran. I think he started like 11 games for the Vikings last year and has spent a lot of time in the AFC West with the Chargers and the Raiders. This is a player that can come in and give you significant snaps and contribute. So you don't go into the draft saying, we got to take a defensive tackle.
Yeah,
if it doesn't work out or it doesn't fall to you, you can go a different direction because you feel good about the talent that you have. So again, that's the thing with Brett Veach. I think he's put the Chiefs in a great position going into, you know, this kind of second and third wave of free agency and the draft. You have a lot of good players, a lot of positions. You don't have to attack a certain area. Let the best players fall to you, and that's what this team has done over the years. Let the best players fall to you, and the best rise to the top.
I'm excited to see what happens. We are about 5 weeks away from this thing. It is crazy. Green Bay is coming, and then we will have a new draft class. It feels like we were just talking about the 2022 draft class, right? The 2021 draft class. Now those guys are old, quote unquote. I don't want to, obviously age them, but it's crazy to think, but also exciting. So Matt, as always, appreciate your expertise, appreciate your time. And, we will have to see what happens in the next coming weeks. But like you said it best, when this airs, probably 10 other things have happened since we talked. So give us a little bit of grace on here. But again, Matt, thank you for coming on.
Of course, anytime, Hayley, you're the best. And thanks for having me.